It's taken the celebrities about a month to react to President Donald Trump being inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States, but they are now coming out in droves. The latest is Richard Gere. He took the opportunity to bash President Donald Trump during an award ceremony in Spain. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. So during the International Goya Awards, Gere said this, which you can watch the full speech here in the video. But he said, the stories that we tell are not unique and they are not singular. Millions of stories, and none of them is in isolation. They all overlap. They all touch each other. We all touch each other. We are all part of a universe of overlapping pain and sadness and joy and expectations and dreams and hopes and visions. So nothing really wrong with that, right? But that's how he is kind of building up all of this to kind of go after President Donald Trump. Because then he says, and I see this world that we're in now forgetting that. And this kind of very foolish tribalism is starting to take us over, where we think we are all separate from each other. And then he goes after President Trump. And we have, unfortunately, elected officials that don't inspire us in a way that we want to be inspired. I'm coming from a place now that we're in a very dark place in America, where we have a bully and a thug who is the president of the United States. There you go, calling President Donald Trump a bully and a thug. Now, not the most egregious thing we've heard from a celebrity, but nevertheless making it very clear where he stands, and that he stands against truth and justice, despite the fact that he's going to speak in platitudes about that. Because he goes on and says this, but it's not just in the U.S., it's everywhere. Everywhere. I read a really moving letter in the New York Times from a gentleman in Hungary, and he was like, the slippery slope of how this happens everywhere. Authoritarianism takes us all over. So he's saying that President Donald Trump is somehow authoritarian when he was literally elected by the people of the United States, won the popular vote, 77 million people elected him, won the Electoral College in a landslide, won all of the swing states, but somehow it's authoritarianism. Like, get out of here. I'm just so sick of these people being so dishonest. And then they have the gall to try to say, you need to tell the truth, because that's exactly what he does right here. He says, we have to be vigilant, we have to be alert, we have to be energetic, we have to be brave, we have to be courageous. And everyone who is watching this in the Spanish-speaking world and elsewhere, we have to be willing to stand up, tell the truth, be honest, and that there's a place in all of our lives for basic kindness, for basic love and understanding, and an embrace of each other in a very fundamental and real way. So all of that sounds all good and everything like this, but as we'll get to, it's all fake. It's all fake. This is false compassion. He's not standing up to tell the truth. This is the guy who's attacking the president of the United States, who is defending the truth, specifically when it comes to biological reality. There are only men and women. He put that in an executive order. He is banning men from playing in women's sports. He's getting rid of this transgender ideology. He's working to eradicate it. So don't tell me that you're going to try and get people to tell the truth when President Donald Trump is literally defending the truth after 4 years of Joe Biden pushing lies, using the federal government to push lies, spread propaganda. So all this stuff might sound all nice, but it's fake. It's totally fake. Nevertheless, he goes on and says, it's what we do as human beings and how we touch each other and embrace each other. We listen to each other. If we listen, we can feel it. We feel each other. Our prayers are kind of us talking to God, but a meditative listening is listening to God. So maybe we can all do a little more of listening to the universe to tell us the truth and tell us where we can move in our hearts and our minds to really behave like brothers and sisters to everyone on this planet. It's so weird when you hear celebrities trying to talk about God, and then they're like, you need to listen to the universe. It's like, well, no, God made the universe. He's above the universe. Why would you listen to the universe that is, as God tells us, the realm that Satan rules? Like, you shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that. But anyways, it wasn't the only time he said this. Ahead of this speech, I guess he attended some kind of press conference. This is what France24.com reported. He said during that press conference, he says, the fact that these irresponsible and perhaps dangerously corrosive billionaires are running everything in America right now is a danger for everyone on this planet. Doesn't say why, right? The outlet also claimed he warned of the dark marriage of power and money like we've never seen before. Yes, the president of the United States, who is literally exposing that dark marriage of power and money through all of the investigations with USAID and all of the other federal grants that are literally going to absolutely disgusting projects that are promoting all kinds of degenerate, evil, objectively untrue propaganda and ideologies. Like I think there's like an opera, a trans opera or something like that. They have a comic book in Peru that pushes the LGBTQ plus agenda, and they're spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on all of this stuff. And they're still going through all of this and finding it. It's absolutely disgusting what's happening. But again, this guy is no stranger to doing this. Back in an interview with BBC in 2016, he called Trump's campaign disgusting. He said it's hard to imagine someone like that could be president of the United States who is totally ill-equipped on every level one can think about to be in a position of authority and inspiration for people. He won twice, Richard Gere. Not very hard to imagine. It's kind of like everyone's nightmare that it might happen. Maybe people who are actually against the truth, it might be a nightmare. Now, that's not to say Trump is perfect. He's not. He definitely makes mistakes. I would criticize him on the comments he made about Gaza, and I think the argument about that is pretty solid there. Anyways, I find it galling, as you've kind of figured out already, that Richard Gere would describe President Trump as a bully and a thug when he's dismantling systemic oppression like federal diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. He actually has another executive order talking about getting rid of it from the private sector as well, because it's not only illegal, but it's immoral. Basing hiring practices off of what you look like and your sex and your race, rather than maybe what you're qualified for. That's evil. That's absolutely evil. It's wrong. Barring male athletes from competing in female sports, that's absolutely a great thing that he's doing. He's eliminating federal funds to evil causes we just kind of talked about, such as the promotion of homosexual agenda, human trafficking, and transgenderism. And he's deporting illegal criminals from the country, among other things, right? He's removing violent criminals that shouldn't have even been here in the first place, murderers, etc. Nothing. Richard Gere's not talking about that, is he? So it's fake. He's completely fake. It might sound good on the surface, but given his pointed criticism at President Trump and all of the objective good that President Trump is doing, it appears that this comes from a false sense of compassion. And Bishop Sheen cited this before. I'm going to cite it again because it is so relevant. It is so relevant to what's happening today. And it was relevant even back then when he was giving this in the 60s. But he says, false compassion, which is gradually growing in this country. I mean, he said this in the 60s, right? we're in the 2020s now. We're in the 2020s now. That's how long is 60 years? 60 years. So imagine, he's saying it was gradually growing in the 60s. It's still been growing. And it's been growing at a more rapid rate than ever. But anyways, he says, false compassion is a pity that is shown not to the mug, but to the mugger, not to the family of the murdered, but to the murderer. There are some judges, some in some of our fine courts. There are some social workers, not all. There are sob sisters. There are social slobberers who insist on compassion to the mugger, the dope fiend, the throat slashers, to the beatniks, to the prostitutes, to the homosexuals, to the punks, so that today the decent man is practically off the reservation. This is a false compassion. And I think that's exactly what Richard Gere is doing here, because Trump is putting an axe to all of the people that are doing bad stuff. He's getting rid of the DEI programs. He's getting rid of these violent, illegal criminals. He's getting rid of illegal criminals. He's getting rid of federal funds to promoting these evil agendas, the homosexual agenda, etc., transgenderism. He's getting rid of that. He's not funding that anymore. He's getting rid of transgender ideology from athletics, so men cannot compete with women and take over their sport. So what Richard Gere is saying is being a bully and a thug is actually Donald Trump fighting for what is true and right. And Richard Gere is the one who's actually spreading lies, despite his assistance on trying to, you got to be committed to the truth. He's the one pushing the lies and doing so with a false compassion. It is truly twisted what he's doing. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know what you make of what Richard Gere had to say here, him bashing President Donald Trump at this Spanish award ceremony. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.